Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be making some refried beans. I may not puree all of them into refried beans. I'll probably leave some of them whole. But for this we're going to use a 1 pound package of small red beans, an onion, a couple of cloves of garlic, some olive oil, and salt and pepper to taste. So you have two options. You can either soak them overnight in a pot of water, or you can do a quick soak, and the instructions for that are on the back. So you put them in your pot with water, boil them for a couple of minutes, and then take them off of the heat, put a lid on the pot, and let them soak for an hour. So I'm going to start by making sure there's no rocks or anything else I don't want in my beans, and then get those on to boil. This may seem like an unnecessary step, but I usually find at least one rock. And I'm the only one that really eats beans or refried beans in the house. But when you make refried beans, they freeze really well. So I like to freeze them in little containers. And I actually plan on freezing some as just beans also. Just whole beans. Because I think if I'm sneaky enough and season them really well with garlic and onions, that I can get away with putting them in a burrito bowl and nobody will mind. Small red beans are the beans that Hondurans use for their refried beans. Now this bag was pretty clean. Okay, I rinsed these beans off really well in the colander, and then put them in a big pot with water 3/4 of the way up, and I am going to put them on to boil now. Once they boil, I'll turn it off, put a cover on it, and let it sit for 1 hour off of the heat. So this is what the beans look like after the quick soak. I drained the beans into a colander and then rinsed them, and then added them back into the pot and added water to about 2 inches above the bean line. And I'm going to go ahead and add a 1/2 of an onion cut in wedges. Two and a 1/2 teaspoons of salt, and a couple of cloves of garlic. These are kind of small, so I'm probably going to add 3 of them. And I like to just smash them instead of cutting them. So I'm going to bring this back up to a boil, then turn down the heat and simmer for 2.5 to 3 hours until the beans are mushy. Okay, these beans have been going for 2.5 or 3 hours, but I think they're done. So I'm going to take some of them and blend them up into refried beans and leave some of them whole. If I was going to do all of the beans into refried beans, I would have drained the water off of the beans to the even with the bean line and added a couple of tablespoons of lard or olive oil. And I usually use olive oil, but I forgot to add the olive oil this time. Okay, looks like a really disgusting smoothie, but it smells really good. It took me a while this time to get the right consistency to these. They were pretty wet. But I kept on adding beans to the blender until I got the consistency that I wanted. Okay, so it's still a little on the thin side, but I am going to leave it at that. There's so much starch in beans that it will thicken up as it cools, that's for sure. So here's the beans I left whole, and those look really good. They taste really good. The seasoning's pretty good on these. Just a hint of garlic and onion. I'll package up into little containers or bags. Sometimes I just put them in sandwich bags and freeze them, because then you can just pop them out of the bag really quickly to thaw them. And there you have refried small red beans. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.